Hi guys, and welcome to Arc Raiders. Today we are going to be taking a closer look at some of the details in this game. Now usually in the fog of war, the heat of the moment, we don't have time to stop and really appreciate the smaller details in this game. So today, I'm just going to be exploring multiple maps, looking for these little things. Some of the things I've already noticed, but also just looking for other things to see whether we can find some hidden secrets. First things first, just listen to this. The trees creak, the leaves rustle. Absolutely beautiful stuff, that is. I'm just in this room here, and here's something I've noticed, which often you don't actually get in games. The mirror is actually reflective, and you can see yourself in it. That's kind of cool. Often it's just like a picture of a mirror surface, but this actually is a dynamic surface. There's some nice modern art here as well. Got to say that's very nice. Don't think there's any Easter eggs here, but it is. It's quite nice to look at. There you go. Look at this wall here. Look at the sort of the damp. Is that a bit of damp there? You got some peeling plaster. It's these little things that make such a big difference. Got some videos here. Looks like someone had 3 copies of the same book there. Interesting. I really like how these exterior AC units rotate slightly as well. That's kind of nice. They do have piping as well that goes into the wall. I wonder if you can see it on the other side. Doesn't look like it. I suppose theoretically... Oh, there's one here, look. I suppose theoretically the pipes for this could go into the wall, up, over, and then connect with that unit on the outside. Theoretically, it could happen. Seems to be some sort of war going on out here. We'll let them carry on. I think they're destroying the bombardier. Got some more modern art here. Different pictures as well, which is nice to see. It's not just the same picture a million times. Love that. Same book, though. I do think this must be a real bestseller. I mean, look at that. Look at the texture on that. Absolutely glorious. Look at the sand deformation, even inside. Look. And apparently, I think these stay put as well, all game. So in theory, you could track someone, or at least see if someone's walked through an area. I don't know that for sure, but I think they stay there for a very long time, if not for the whole game. Now, if you've ever had cardboard boxes for a long time, especially when they've been exposed to the elements, they do go quite crumply. And I'd say the crumplage on these boxes is exceptional. One thing that's very nice is how realistic the trees are. The treeism in this game is very strong. In particular, you have these trunks here. So this trunk is, you know, it's a single trunk, right? But these trunks here of the same tree type are, you know, there's lots of them. This is a coppiced tree here. You've got multiple trunks coming off from one sort of root. And the reason that happens usually is either in the wild, something will bite the sapling and break it, or the small tree, or alternatively it can be man-made. People used to do this to harvest more wood. So you've actually got a good example here of good treeism. You have non-coppice trees and coppice trees, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the detail. Have you noticed that sometimes if you hit them in the right way, you can accelerate the spin, look, and then they fall quicker? Did you see that? If you see the way they're rolling and you shoot the side that they're kind of rolling towards, they spin more fast that way. The grass moves. Love that. One detail that I would love to see is if you actually stepped in the grass, it moved. I mean, that's a small thing, and I don't know how difficult that is to do, but still, it looks great. I thought for a minute there we actually had a smoking chimney, but I realized there's actually just this beacon behind it. That would have been a nice detail. But let's check the chimneys, though, because chimneys often exist in games and they don't actually lead to fireplaces. So we have a chimney there. I believe that's a chimney for a fire. I can't see why it wouldn't be. Let's see if it actually goes towards a fireplace. Okay, I'm in the building with the fireplace, and I have bad news. There is no chimney breast. There is a chimney above me, but it would seem there is not a single fireplace, at least on this entire floor, and no discernible chimney breast either. So, unfortunately, the chimney realism is not quite there, but you can't have it all. That's some lovely parquet flooring there. Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. All right, let's have a look at the kitchen then. What do we got here? We've got a induction hood here. Now, this is an unusual design here. Let's take a closer look. Gonna turn that torch up. So that's the extraction hood there above the hob. And now normally that would... And you see there is the continued hood. Now, this design doesn't seem to make much sense to me. I mean, so that... What is it doing? So it should, in my opinion, not my opinion, I think this is kind of how this works. That would then continue straight up into a hood. So it doesn't, but maybe there's a secret design. Maybe it goes into the wall, out the back and up there. I don't fully understand the design of this hood. We're going to move on. If you install kitchens for a living, maybe let me know. Does this hood exist? Let me know in the comments. Very important, findings here. This is a cool detail in the game. If you actually hit the piano, it makes a piano noise. One detail I'm surprised I didn't include is that if you walk into the cacti, they don't hurt you. Like, that's something I think as well could improve the realism, as if those prickly plants were truly prickly. Okay, now quite interestingly, we have some power lines here, which seem to have... Are they linked up to anything in particular? Maybe they've just gone underground and they've become buried. But where do they go? We must follow the wires. Looks like they're going towards the main building, but then they go underground again. I suspect that what happened here is actually the cabling used to be above ground, and it's actually since fallen down and then been covered in sand. That's the situation there. Kitchen here with no hob. Interesting kitchen design. You know, you're not going to be able to cook much on that, are you? It's lovely painting there. Sort of some sort of... Is that some sort of Venetian scene there? Very nice. We have more exterior AC units here, and the pipes seemingly may be connecting into this unit here. I'm going to die to wasps on my little tour. Oh, the bombardier. Why am I going towards the bombardier? I saw it earlier. What's wrong with me? I'm a mad lad. Look at all this rebar. Okay, important detail check here. Lots of lovely rebar. Look at the rebar. This is everywhere in Arc Raiders. You can't move for rebar. Oh boy. This is quite concerning. This is concerning me. I wouldn't worry about it. Just get a shift on. Run for your life. Get in the flipping stairwell. Oh! Come on! You're nearly there, son. Don't die to a tick. That'd be so embarrassing. Oh my god. Run! No! Careful. Oh, it's at the end! Oh! Here we are in Spaceport then. Now, as you can see here, this is clearly a tunnel that has been made by a tunnel boring machine. Shout out to the B1M. If you know, you know. Tunnel boring machines, they bore through the earth, and they put these things up against the wall to make them solid. So, and then slowly, as it moves forward, it lays some of this on the outside, and it keeps moving forward. So you would expect to see gaps in the concrete where the tunnel boring machine places each set. So as it pushes through, it places this reinforced concrete as it moves through. Now, I'm very happy to report that in this tunnel, there are, in fact, you can see the visible gaps where it has laid it all down, like sort of every 2 meters. And that is a very nice detail. Let's inspect this bus, the details on it. Let's have a little look here. So you've got the driver's side door there. You've got some luggage area there. Looking at the motor, the internal wiring. I don't know what a car engine looks like. Are we looking at some sort of motor? Let's take a look inside the bus now at the seating. Is that metal? This isn't exactly the nicest seating arrangement I've ever seen in a bus. Looks like some people have been hiding out in here as well. Or using it as a bin. It's just a large bin. Here we go, the driver's seat. No pleasantries reserved for the driver here. And it looks like he's driving an automatic. It's an automatic? It is. All the cars in Arc Raiders so far. And we have another motor here. If you're a mechanic, what am I looking at there? What is this then? This is some sort of machine? Listen to that. Pure magic. So cool how the audio is different on bits of metal. So on this, the sound of just walking on flat metal. And then when you go on the steps, it changes. So it's a different type of metal noise, which is kind of realistic. I like that. Whoa, supply package just gone up there. I like how they explode though, listen. Yeah, there you go, like a firework. I mean, look at that there. My goodness me. The way the light casts off things as well, it's just so beautiful. People think I'm overreacting when I go on and on about all the rebar in this game, but it is... There's honestly so much... Oh, someone just died next to me. Well, we're carrying with the more important business, which is we're looking for rebar here. This game is, frankly, absolutely lit. I mean, look at that. An absolute haul. Seeing this here? So it's spaceport, right? Which implies that people are using this for transport to get around back in the day. So this here, the poster, looks kind of glamorous. I think it's someone on holiday, or at least seemingly going on holiday, which is kind of an interesting little detail to show that this was not necessarily... This was a place of... It's like an airport terminal, essentially, in here. Got a little information desk. It's not like they were doing space exploration. This was they were a space faring civilization, and that in and of itself is an interesting detail that I've just realized. Is that the world of Arc Raiders, the people in it were space faring, which means they went to other worlds, perhaps, or maybe they just used it to go up into space and then travel really fast to the other side of the Earth. Either way, it's interesting to note that people of this version of Earth were spacefaring. I mean, just look at it. Just look at it. Right, anyway, we're here now at what claims to be the departure building. So, I'm a passenger. I'd like to go on holiday, please. So here we are, all departures. There's a waiting room on the left and a lounge on the right. So I go in here. All right, lads, security. Nothing to declare. I've got nothing. A couple of weapons, that's all. Onwards, they say. Okay, good. Well, and so here we're at the all departures area. So we've gone through security. We've been at the information desk. We go here. And what happens now? We're looking out over there towards seemingly a large pipe. All departures again. So what's this here? Maybe I'd show my ticket and be like, hey, lads, I'm off. I'm off into space. And they go, yeah, follow the all departures sign. So here we go. Following the all departures sign. I'm hoping this takes me to there's authorized personnel room in here, or sort of like security area. I'm hoping that I'm going to eventually arrive at like something that looks like it would take me towards the actual ship. Okay, we're going up here now. Okay, now I'm back inside. This seemingly doesn't feel like the place where you would want to go as a passenger. So the actual interior design of this room seemingly doesn't actually make logical sense. Which is frankly an uninstallable offense in my eyes, and the game is now ruined forever. This is something that's very cool in Arc Raiders. I spoke about this before. This is such an iconic thing. This view here, the way it's got the band at the top and the band at the bottom there. This is such an Arc Raiders tool. I don't know if they did this intentionally, but this happens on quite a lot of the maps, where the beautiful vista like this here is framed by this like essentially cinematic banding, right? It looks like cinematic films. And I think that makes it just look so grand and epic, and it adds to the sort of magnitude of the environment. 5-minute warning, look at that. Oh, I love the delay, it's so good. Beautiful. Anyway, we've got a snitch coming in. But let's say I'm a passenger, I head in here, I'm like, right, I need to go to E1. If you don't know, you need to board space rockets at the top, usually. So I would go up here. This, again, it's not very accessible to people who can't use zip lines. You might expect to see a lift here. You know, there's no lift in this building, which is quite interesting. Which implies that in the lore of Arc Raiders, in the Earth, they favored zip lines over lifts or elevators. Very interesting. Another interesting finding that we've got here on our research journey. So we're in here, but this is very much a control point. You know, this is not a departure. This is not for paying customers. So maybe it isn't actually for paying customers. But then why would there be that departures thing like that? That implies that you would be able to take a trip as a paying customer. But this is all very scientific up here. So I'm not sure how you would actually end up in the ship. Very interesting details have been revealed here so far. And I would imagine that here is where you would actually get onto the rocket, if there was a rocket here, and then you would board it, and then you would be launched into space. This is really cool. Look, something very large here went down. I don't know what it was or what it is. It looks like thrusters, doesn't it? Maybe it's a rocket landing or something like that. But anyway, this is like a pool of water, but you can see the oil. Look here. Again, the oil is just visible. The slightly different colors. I mean, just look at it. It's absolutely beyond just comparison. One thing that's very apparent from what you see around the map is that the people of this land left in an absolute panic and in a hurry. And whatever happened to them happened fast. Huge ventilation duct here. Things you love to see. Look at that. Look at this. The light is in here. And there's little bits of metal, which are making it cast shadows out from those little pieces of metal. So it's not just like a big round light. It's actually coming out from like the little metal things are creating shadows. This is a small thing, but I think it's really cool. It's like, so this map, I think one of the things that makes it so cool is not just the playable area, but the setting, the surrounding. This looks like some sort of like old, was that granite? It's a bit like Yosemite Valley in a way, which is the exposed core of volcanoes, I believe, or lava magma chambers, which have since been, you know, pushed up through tectonic plate activity, and then with the outer layers of former volcanoes eroded off them over millions of years, leaving behind the exposed, solidified, and cooled core of the magma chambers. And that might be the same story here. But anyway, that being said, as a cool kind of like environmental concept, I do really like the way that this road obviously goes through the map, kind of into the main checkpoint. And the checkpoint is really the main focal point of the whole map. And what's really cool is that the road comes all the way out here and it goes over there and it just disappears off and it goes all the way to the horizon. And that's a really clever and cool way of like making you part of the backdrop. It's not just that it feels like you're in this world a bit more because you can see where that road goes to. It's not just like some arbitrary end. You're tied to that entire backdrop. And I think that's such a nice feature. What were these large things anyway? So epic, but I don't know what they are. They look like, was this like a large machine, do you think? Or do you think it was like multiple machines? All right, let's check out this town then. Seemingly here we have a babbling brook. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a babbling brook. I'm not sure what constitutes a babbling brook over a stream. If anyone has any defined, you know, features of a babbling brook versus a stream, let me know in the comments. They just they cannot help themselves. Just a tiny little bit here. It's just everywhere. Via Guglielmo Marconi. Guglielmo, interestingly, for those of you who don't know, in Italian means William. They've got a AC unit. Do they have an exterior unit? Uninstall. Uninstall the game. The game's gone. Look, Eremo. Is that actually a place? I'm going to have to Google quick. The Eremo della Caccieri is a hermitage complex located 791 meters above sea level in a steep forest gorge upon Monte Subasio in Umbria in central Italy. Well, and then it's called Pilgrim's Peak. Oh, there are layers to this map, it would seem. I mean, that is just absolutely beautiful. Kind of gives off kind of Atomfall vibes, this area, doesn't it? That's not babbling. That's a raw, that's borderline river, that. That's a waterfall, isn't it? So there's Pilgrim's Peak then, and that place we've just read about is actually a place of presumably pilgrimage. And you've got these like church-looking buildings as well. So maybe, just maybe, we've unlocked some more lore here. Perhaps this was an ancient religious site that has taken on deeper meaning in this post-apocalyptic world. You see these in the Lake District a lot, like little cairns, like way markers. But they're not normally this close together. And I'm wondering if this is some sort of shrine. Quite shrine-like, isn't it? And this is the Pilgrim's Peak as well, so it does make sense that it would be a shrine. Something of the Nepalese prayer flags about this as well. Something of the kind of Everest area, you've got to say. There's no visible monastery up the hill or anything. So presumably this is the site of the monastery, maybe. They've repurposed it to their own ends in this post-apocalyptic world. Oh, look at the way the clouds move in the explosion. That's so cool. I love that. One of the coolest features, this warning system that you need to get out of dodge. The Rocketeers see me on the way to the extract. This is not good. Run. Let's get a tap on this and then hide. I'm sure it's fine. It's going to take some serious dodging here. He's not red, he's orange. So we're fine? Everything's fine. Oh, someone died here. Oh my god, look at all the stuff. Oh, it's a free loadout. Take this stuff though, why not? Oh my god, a renegade? Yo. Remote Raider Flare blueprint? We did it, lads. We did it. Nice. Well, there you go, guys. There's my little rundown of some of the details, a sort of closer look around at the map itself and some of the intricacies in it. If you guys enjoyed this video, do leave a like, do leave a comment. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.